In the vast plains of Sindh, in a land shaped by centuries of culture, conflict, and resilience, a child was born who would one day become a global symbol of courage. Her name was Benazir Bhutto. Born on June 21, 1953, into the powerful and politically influential Bhutto family, Benazir entered the world already surrounded by history. Her father, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, a charismatic and visionary leader, would go on to become one of Pakistan's most influential prime ministers. From her earliest days, Benazir breathed politics the way others breathe air. Growing up in Karachi and the ancestral home of Larkana, Benazir's childhood was a blend of privilege and expectations. She attended the best schools, excelling in academics, public speaking, and leadership. In 1969, she journeyed to the United States to study at Harvard University, immersing herself in political theory, history, and international relations. Later, she moved to the United Kingdom, enrolling at Oxford University, where she became the first Asian woman to lead the Oxford Union Debate Society, a sign of what the world would one day witness. While other students prepared for careers, Benazir was preparing for a destiny. But fate would soon test her in ways she could never have imagined. In 1977, General Zia-ul-Haq overthrew her father's government in a military coup. Benazir rushed home, not realizing she was stepping into one of the darkest chapters of her life. Her father, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, was imprisoned and later executed under controversial charges. The world watched, horrified. And Benazir, just 26 years old, was shattered. Yet in her sorrow, something unbreakable awakened. She stepped into the political battlefield, determined to continue her father's legacy. Benazir became the face of resistance against authoritarian rule. For this, she paid with her freedom. She endured long months in solitary confinement, harsh conditions, illness, and constant surveillance. Her only crime, raising her voice for democracy. After years of pressure from the international community, she was allowed to leave Pakistan for medical treatment. In exile, she rallied global support, writing, speaking, and shaping herself into a leader who would one day return, not as a victim, but as a force. In 1986, when Benazir Bhutto returned to Pakistan, the world witnessed something extraordinary. Millions flooded the streets, chanting her name. That day, the sky over Karachi thundered with hope. The daughter of the East had come home. After General Zia's death and the restoration of elections, Benazir led her party, the Pakistan People's Party, PPP, to victory. And in 1988, at just 35 years old, she became the first woman in the history of the Muslim world to be elected prime minister. It was not simply a political victory. It was a generational shift. A woman breaking through centuries of barriers. Benazir's government focused on restoring democracy, empowering women, modernizing Pakistan, and rebuilding institutions damaged by dictatorship. But her journey was far from smooth. She faced fierce opposition from political rivals, the military establishment, and ideological extremists. Twice her governments were dismissed under accusations, charges she denied as politically motivated. Yet every time she fell, she rose again. Every time she was silenced, she came back louder. By the early 2000s, Benazir was again in exile. But Pakistan continued to struggle with instability and extremism. She felt the pull of her homeland, a duty she could never ignore. In 2007, despite threats to her life, she made a monumental decision. She would return to Pakistan to restore democracy once more. On the day of her arrival, a massive crowd welcomed her, but tragedy struck when a suicide attack targeted her convoy, killing over 140 people. Benazir survived. Shaken but unbroken. Still, she refused to back down. She said, "I know there are dangers. But I believe in my mission." On December 27, 2007, after addressing a large rally in Rawalpindi, she stood waving from her vehicle. When gunshots rang out. Seconds later, a suicide bomber detonated explosives. Benazir Bhutto was gone. Pakistan mourned. The world mourned. A light had been extinguished, but her legacy had only begun. Benazir Bhutto's life was a story of courage and sacrifice. The first woman to lead a Muslim nation. A symbol of democracy. A champion of women's rights. A leader who faced prison, exile, and threats, but never abandoned her people. Her death left a void in Pakistani politics, but her ideas and influence continue through global conversations about freedom, equality, and democracy. She once said, "Democracy is the best revenge." Her life proved that democracy, and hope, can survive even in the darkest moments. This was the story of Benazir Bhutto, a woman born into power, tested by tragedy, and remembered as a voice for the voiceless. If you found this narration inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories from history.